So we just finished a wonderful talk and presentation with John DiLeo, not even nominated, his eighth book.
Eighth book.
Eighth book. And I have to say, you're the person that wants to shine the light on the things other people don't think about. I think it was Andy Warhol who said, 15 seconds of fame, but you do like 10-minute performances that no one knows about.
Well, I think I try, because there are a lot of movie books. I've been doing this a long time. If you can't come up with a fresh, original idea, there's no point in doing it, because so much has been done, especially in film. When I was a teenager in the 70s, that was sort of like the heyday of film books. Like, they were everywhere.
No,
and that's
you're
when
right.
I collected them. And now you think since then how many books have been written. So if you want to write about film, if you can't come up with something that hasn't been done before, how are you going to put in all that time for something that's kind of ho-hum? So I try, and I wait for something that I think is a different, fresh idea.
But you have your hook. This is your hook, and your newest one. First of all, don't you remember learning in school never start a sentence with a negative? Or when I took improv class, they always say never start it with a negative. This is a catchy title.
Well, it was the kind of
not
thing
even nominated.
When you're thinking of a title for any book, you're thinking of something that really represents the book. So usually you just start talking out loud and you're like, well, it's about these people. They were, this guy's so great and not even nominated for that movie. And that's the title.
Right.
It's just natural.
And it is incredulous that they weren't nominated. Yeah. But, I have to say, in all fairness, there were some that, what did I say? Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. There was some of those situations. But some of the things were circumstantial. Like, it was Sidney Poitier, who had he was competing against himself because he had three films out there.
3 big movies in 1967, sort of basically canceling himself out.
He canceled out, right.
But there's always so many reasons. It's so random, the Academy Awards. And it's like, what happened last year, who is owed something, what kind of movie it is, who had the showiest performance, not necessarily the best performance. Sometimes it feels like most acting rather than best acting.
I love that. Yeah. Or who knows who, I'm sure.
There's so many, and each year is its own kind of separate entity for this, whatever factors are at play.
But you know what? Here you are, and some of these actors that you're shining the light on, they're not with us anymore. And
most of them,
right? Well, but it's paying homage to people that really deserve it. I'm a big believer in that. We put plaques up on benches, we name streetlights, and that's all really great. But what you're doing with your books is you're really saying, hey, this person did this incredible work.
Well, I love writing about people that are on the road to being forgotten, and so it's people I really like. So it's a joy to write about them. It's a joy. But also, I have such great feeling for these people, and I feel like maybe I'm going to make someone discover these people.
So. Right. No, it's very, very obvious. So what I think made an impression on me that I hadn't thought about was it's circumstantial for some people, but then other people that I didn't even realize. Nicolas Cage, brilliant performance in Moonstruck. What the heck happened?
I know, sometimes it's particularly weird when a movie is loved by the Academy and it gets a ton of nominations and a ton of wins sometimes, and yet there's one key contributor who's not included, and that's when you think, but they loved this movie, and this person was so integral to what they loved about it. Like Nicolas Cage, he's, to me, is the essential ingredient to why we love Moonstruck. So what was that about? He was young, he was new, whatever.
But his performance.
There was so much attention on Cher, and deservedly, she's wonderful. But I'm saying sometimes you're overshadowed by something else in your movie that's getting all the PR.
Right.
And her performance got all that attention.
And good point on your part, because then we're back to what I was saying. It's circumstances.
Yeah.
And you can't really control that.
No.
But here is John. It may have been circumstances, but he's going to go against the grain with that with his book.
Well, again, it makes me happy if I can make people say, you're right, I never appreciated Nicolas Cage in that movie.
Hello.
And you're right.
Yeah.
Or Michael York in Cabaret. I never appreciated that contribution.
Okay, good case in point. Michael York in Cabaret.
Great.
My eyes had been on Liza, and I'm like, John is right. Michael, did such a beautiful
And we get
underplayed performance.
right. We get why he was ignored. He's in a musical, but he doesn't sing or dance. So right off, people can forget.
Right.
They know there's a guy in the movie, but they don't remember him on stage because he never is. But it's really, in a way, it's really his story because he's the observer. He's the guy who comes to Berlin. The whole movie is his time in Berlin.
Exactly.
And so, but again, you can understand why he was overlooked because there's so many flashy objects going on around him.
Right.
He's never a flashy object in that movie.
God, we should have you teaching a workshop called "So You Want to Be an Actor," because
Well, I have to say my background. I mean, I went to Ithaca College. And
great drama program.
Graduated
Yeah.
as an acting major. Came to New York and acted for 12 years in the city. Obviously, not successful enough, or I wouldn't have written 8 books. but
Beg to differ, but go on.
But when I write mostly about acting, when I'm writing about
Yeah.
film, and certainly the last 2 books were really all about acting, and so I feel like I know what I'm talking about. Always feel like I'm playing every role I'm writing about and figuring out what the actor did moment to moment, how they connected the dots, because that's what an actor does. How you have to connect all the dots to go through the arc of a character.
But I love that you just said that you're playing a role when you're writing these books. I mean,
I am.
does acting have to be on stage, or can it be? You're like the vessel. You're
Well-
like channeling them.
well, I'm
John
saying-
is the vessel.
I'm figuring out what they did, so if I had to do it, I know.
Right.
Not that I might do it, but I've tried to figure out the process and how it was put together. And you can do that with bad performances too, like where they miss the
Absolutely.
boat, where it doesn't jibe with what just happened.
But you can see it because you're analyzing it.
Well, I'm saying most people will not spend as much time with a movie as I will when I'm writing about it,
Right.
because you'll watch it, as I said, always straight through, but then the scenes I'm focused on are watching them over and over again and seeing different things and then have a new appreciation of it. So when I look at the clips I just showed, I've seen them hundreds of times, I actually enjoy them more and more because
I
I'm
love
so
that.
connected to what those people that I love are doing.
Right. But you
And-
know what? You're sharing that joy with us and
I hope
everybody
so.
sitting in the audience today. We were, oh yeah, now I remember that. And how brilliant to do that, to bring this up and have us thinking about those performances
And I hope
again.
the people who were there who did then buy the book will rush to the ones I showed clips of to think, oh my God, that gin rummy scene from Born Yesterday is hilarious.
It's
I
brilliant.
can't wait to read about Judy Holliday's Oscar-winning performance and Broderick Crawford's not even nominated one.
And Judy Holliday, people would tell me so much, you're a Judy Holliday type. And I knew a little about
Had you
her.
ever seen that clip before?
No,
Oh my
and
God.
I knew it was right, but because of you, I got to
Isn't
see
she
that
great?
clip, and
Oh my
that's what
God.
you've shared with everybody
Well,
here today.
That's what I hope.
That's what's gonna come from
'cause
this.
It's like I get my own pleasure out of my work, but the thought of when people say that thank you for turning me on to such and such, like I said, I feel like I made the movie when they say that. Or when I show the classic movies at the Milford Theater, when people come up to me and say, oh my God, that was like one of the best things I've ever seen in my
Right.
life, I take it personally.
No, but that isn't that great? And
is great.
the irony, right? You said you had started out acting. It's ironic. You are on stage at the Milford Theater. You're interpreting what has gone on in these films,
Well-
John. You know what? It's like no one could have called it. You really are, in a way, you never left what you came to do. You just found your own version of it.
You're very perceptive because I've actually answered that question. People say, was it a difficult transition to turn your back on your life dream of
You
wanting to be
didn't.
an actor? and right, I said, actually, I didn't.
Right, you
Because
didn't.
it's a different way of communicating, but I'm still, when I'm writing, I'm trying to get a laugh. I'm trying to touch you in some way. I'm doing all the things I used to do on stage
Yes.
and through writing. And true, I'm not in the room when the person's experiencing that
Right.
the way you are on stage, but also I get to introduce the movies on stage at the Milford Theater and take questions at the end. So I feel like I'm on stage all the time.
It's everything
whether
that
in
you would be-
print
right.
or actually in the room.
And what you've brought to our town in Milford, Pennsylvania, and everybody that comes from the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, your film series that you do on Sundays, amazing. Certainly in the winters, we have long winters here.
Yeah.
What you bring to this community, but you know, a lot of people know you from here. You are really a national figure at this point, and you're going to have your signing in LA, and anyone in the film industry. I drop his name because I interview people, and I drop your name, like with Richard Skipper. Oh my God, I love John. He's so brilliant. Isn't that something?
It's nice.
Isn't that something? So, one little secret I want you to share with everybody. How many index cards?
Oh, yes. Will Vokell asked me that for the Milford Journal article about my reference system. So I fill out an index card, a movie review of every movie I've watched since the year 2000, when I was seriously writing. And I thought I need my own sort of files to go to and remember what I thought about things instead of having to watch things 900 times. So I have 8,000 cards.
8,000 cards,
roughly,
ladies and gentlemen.
Almost 25 years.
It's a lot. It's a lot of cards.
And I refer to them all the time.
And
constantly.
right.
So if I'm writing about Ryan O'Neal, I have all his other movies with cards, and I can say, oh, this is what I thought of him in What's Up, Doc, and Love Story, and it's all. I don't have to watch everything he ever did if I'm going to write about him, because I already did that.
So one of the things you and I have in common are those 8,000 index cards.
Oh, what are yours?
And the Sharpie.
Oh,
I don't have 8,000 cards, but interviews, roles in films, the only way I can learn my lines before I create the character, I like to have my lines and then infuse it with life. I have to use those damn index cards. What's so interesting about both of us, we are old school because John has 8,000 index cards. Anybody else would have that on the computer. It's not this. No, it's not the same.
Well,
it's not the same.
Yeah, they're handwritten cards.
Right.
And I think if you had told me in the year 2000 there would be 8,000, I probably would have put it on the computer and done it that way, because I have now the files are like this long, so now I'm up to like the 4th or 5th file. And like I said, if I'd known, I used to just have them stacked like this.
Yeah,
and then
but then
they
it got out of
fall.
control, right? That was the leaning tower of index cards.
I never thought there'd be that many, so now I'm kind of trapped in my own.
Trapped by your own index cards. I hate when that happens.
It's all of my own making, yes.
I'm very excited to have your book. Not even nominated. You can buy the book online. You can buy it at major bookstores. You've got major distribution everywhere. And John is going to do something I'm looking forward to. He's going to sign the book for me. Thank you.
Live.
We're doing this live with a Sharpie. Thank you so much. I'm very excited. And while he's writing his little ditty to me, I have to say it's a really lovely, attractive cover. You'll recognize all the faces on it, and the first thing you're going to say is, why were they not even nominated? What could have possibly happened? Beautiful. I love it. He's doing, oh my God, I got the double side. He went 2 pages into the book too. Yes, that's special. I'll take my Sharpie back. Thank you very much. I do love the way these things smell. They made
get a little high.
Well, it's just, I know there's something really special about it. John, thank you. You're going to be doing more interviews here at the Black Bear Film Festival. What else can we look forward to?
Oh, today at 3 o'clock, I'm doing Mr. Blandings Builds His Dream House is our classic movie, and our special guest is Ileana Douglas, who writes about this movie in her book, Connecticut in the Movies.
Right.
There'll be a book signing of her book in the tent after the screening.
Because her grandfather was
Melvin Douglas, who's one of the stars of the movie. So you've got,
it all connects.
We'll see the movie, she and I will talk on stage, and then we'll go to the tent for the signing.
Gorgeous.
But we picked the movie for that reason, not only because she writes about it, but because her grandfather's in it. So we can
it's
talk
great.
about that.
You know what? Everything comes full circle here at the Black Bear Film Festival. Boy, do we have a lot in store for you.